You know what that is? Simply lovely.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a Simply Lovely podcast. My name is Corbin, and we just had a incredible Mexico City Grand Prix weekend. Caleb, what's going on, dude?
Nothing much. I actually didn't get to watch the race at all live. I watched the start. I was about to start. I was at an NFL game, and the stadium was blocking the signal, so I couldn't get like a strong enough streaming. But it was strong enough that I could just have the freaking like live telemetry data pulled up. And this race was probably the worst one ever to have live telemetry data because it was like turn one, Max shot up 5 spots, shot down 10, and then back up like 6. It was the funny. I was like sitting there like, yo, this thing's breaking, right?
Yeah, bro. Dude, you texting me was the funniest part because you'd be like, bro, how'd Bearman get up there? Yo, what's Max doing? Yo, how's Max in
Bro, I was
P5?
making sure. Bro, I was making sure the thing wasn't bugging because it was like they were just. There's not been that many swaps in F1 in a while, so it was like at a track that sucks. But like Mexico's not been that great of a track. Like turn one's interesting, and then everything like the rest of the race normally sucks. And then this year it was like, yeah, what if we just have the best race of the year here? Well,
that's real.
Best racing of the year. It wasn't the best race because it's the largest margin of victory.
Yeah,
by any driver, but the rest of it was very interesting. Little weird VSC, so many weird FIA decisions to talk about.
Pretty horrible ones that we will be talking about.
But we'll have to go through them pretty quick. Do you want to first? Would you rather talk about the highlights of the race first, or do you want to just get through the predictions real quick so that we can spend more time on the?
Let's get through the predictions real quick because I'm pretty sure this was pretty bad from both sides.
Kind of. So you had actually, I say kind of. I think there's one single correct prediction, 2, because I did put a caveat on one of yours that technically will give you 2. I almost kind of had 1, sort of, but I put a caveat on it that ended up causing it to not be true whatsoever. So you had pole at Lando, obviously Lando with a phenomenal lap getting pole.
Mm-hmm.
I had pole as Max. That Red Bull did not look good at all this weekend. So
no, it was bad.
Which isn't good for either of our winners, which you both had Max. You had P2 as George Russell, who had a fun weekend himself.
Yeah,
and you had P3 as Lando Norris. You had Lando Norris, P3. Obviously, he won the race. Mine was similar at Oscar P2. That was more of like, I wasn't 100% certain Oscar's going to be able to do it, but it's kind of like, okay, if he doesn't do it now, I don't think he's going to do it the rest of the year. So I'm like, I'm picking it now.
Right.
And he didn't. And then Lando was P3. And now I've decided Oscar, I'm not picking Oscar to the podium until he shows me again that he can get on the podium. Like that's just my new rule. I'm just doing it now. So now we get to the fun stuff. The goal with the surprise pick is kind of supposed to be like, it's like, someone overperforms kind of thing, but sometimes we'll add in a little sprinkle and twist. So mine was there's going to be no virtual safety car or safety car, which there wasn't. It was just that one virtual safety car, right?
Yeah, there was one virtual safety car at the very end.
We'll talk about that because that's a whole other thing. It wasn't going to matter though because we were kind of like, is that really a good prediction? I feel like there's not a lot of safety cars, so I was like, okay, I'll just do all classified finishers. That was over pretty early because Liam Lawson DNF'd.
Mm-hmm.
Very early in the race, retired the car.
Yep, followed by Nico Hülkenberg as well. So,
and then my disaster was Kimi Antonelli, which he had his like best weekend in a while recently. So, if you remember though, you can go back and listen to it live as I talked myself out of picking Alpine, which 100% would have worked because they were like 50 seconds off the pace all weekend,
bad.
which is like. Because we were saying it was like okay, yeah, but they're gonna get 19th and 20th, so it'd have to be really bad in order for it to be a true disaster. And it turns out it would have been fine. So
yeah, because they were like 30 seconds behind. Like what?
So I'm 15th? Going with my gut from that, like next weekend or next race, Sao Paulo. I don't know if it's next weekend or in 2 weeks, but I'm going with my gut for every single pick.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Alpine was gonna finish in the back, and I'm like, bro, if it rains, that's a boat.
I'm going with my gut.
Boats go fast.
That means Alpine disaster class. That means Alpine disaster class.
Okay.
All right. Now we get to where I'm sure. So I really wish I didn't do this. We're not scoring it, so it's fine. Corbin does get correct the Oscar Piastri disaster pick. Now, one could argue Oscar actually had a decent race. It wasn't a great weekend. I said that if Oscar left the weekend not leading the championship, then Corbin gets granted this correct prediction. And sure enough, he is not leading the championship. So
Yeah.
I think you scraped it by in literally the least possible way that you would have gotten this prediction right, but you still got it.
Yeah.
And
And
then
my other one is also true.
Hold on. So the wording I have, remember, this is supposed to be positive surprise. That's why what you're about to argue is not going to apply. But technically, in fairness, in the note, I just have surprise dash Liam Lawson, who had a surprise for sure. If you had said Liam Lawson disaster, it would have 100% gone through. Because he not only was the first DNF, also almost killed some people.
Yeah.
Not his fault, in fairness, but
maybe need to lock in next time because that was
I don't.
bad.
This can't be the Marshals' fault. This has to be someone calling in information.
Well, okay, so I think this should have been a virtual safety car right off the rip. Just because Sao Paulo isn't that long of a track, and there was debris spread all through the grass, and it's just like,
yeah. Well, I'm not sure what the distance of Sao Paulo has to do with the Mexico Grand Prix.
Did I just say Sao Paulo? My bad. I'm ready for the next race weekend, Mexico.
Had to cook him there.
Oh, all right, shut up. Anyways,
how's your driver doing in the standings, buddy? How's your favorite driver doing in the standings?
He's not in last, so
he can't even pull away from Colapinto, big dog. Let's lock it,
bro, dude. He's gonna cook next year in the 2026 Alpine. Trust. I'm
bro,
coping.
they haven't developed anything in their car for 3 years, so that 26 car better be good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you this. Do you think they're gonna score a point?
We don't got time. We don't got time to talk about 2026 Alpine.
I know.
We'll save that for
we'll save it for later. But do you think they're gonna score a point in Alpine
this year? No,
there's
too much to talk about.
Right.
There's too much to talk about for this race, so we can't get into that. All right, we got to focus on this race. All right, you were saying I didn't know anything about this. I only I knew I saw Lawson was like 30 seconds behind, just at the telemetry thing. And then he eventually DNF'd, and then I started seeing stuff about this. So, what they were picking up debris, right?
Yeah. So of course they had the collision turn 1, and everyone came through except for Liam because he immediately pitted. And of course the marshals, thinking all the cars had just gone through because they were still packed up like decently. They just went out to go get debris, and they're collecting debris, and they get on the track, and out comes Liam Lawson from the pit lane, and he has to swerve to not hit the marshals that are on the track. So
yeah, maybe let's go ahead and focus the priority of the volunteers instead of trying to get the debris off without even a second of a VSC or something.
Yeah, I don't understand why there wasn't a VSC in the first. Like, that was so much. Like, there was a lot of debris out there. Like easily 4 or 5 big chunks that I feel like they could have thrown a VSC for. Literally for like just a second. It could have been for 30 seconds.
I mean, they were confident enough to try to clear it while it was green, so clearly it wasn't that much.
I felt like I felt like it was enough to where they should have thrown.
I'm saying, yes, you should do the virtual safety car. Well, I'm saying like it wouldn't have to be that long because clearly they thought it was a low enough amount that they were confident enough they could pick it up while green flag racing.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, yeah, I mean, and this should probably be the biggest story just because like the amount of like I've been watching for 2 or 3 years. It's like I've seen now 2 incidents where someone could have got seriously injured because of really stupid decision making. The first one was the first race I watched, which was in Suzuka when Gasly very easily could have hit a tractor and freaking died.
Yeah,
and
got a penalty for it.
And if I'm not mistaken, right, that's where Jules Bianchi hit the tractor and he passed. So same exact track, and as a tractor, it's like I don't know how that was the same thing. And then obviously it's like. On top of it'd be one thing if the FIA was absolutely cooking with these race decisions, and then once or twice every few years someone almost dies. All right, that's an easier fix. Now it's like someone's almost dying every few years, and you're absolutely torching your decisions. So like, what do they even do? Fire everybody? It's time to restart. Burn it down.
Yep. Seb needs to be the president. I'm starting narratives.
All right. Let's. All right. Liam Lawson. Not surprised. Corbin does not get that credit for that prediction.
I feel like I maybe
still
should.
Takes. Okay, bro. You already got the caveat Oscar prediction. All right. Yeah, I'm not granting no double. I'm not granting no double caveat cheese here. All right.
That's fair.
Dude, the only thing that annoys me about that Oscar prediction is like I wish I was like explicitly like, even if it's 1 point, you will get this credit. It is for the full weekend, and he had a disastrous qualifying. Well, you can say that real quick. So let's talk about the qualifying. Let's brush by it pretty quick. What a lap from Lando. I did watch the qualifying live, and it was like purple by like an insane margin. And then the next sector, purple by an insane margin. And then the next sector, purple by an insane margin. It was like, all right, that was a crazy lap. And I was like, surely he'll get a lot of credit for this. Open social media, and it's like, man, someone put a bomb in Oscar's car. Oscar's using all in all.
They're using the camera. Like
it's like, so I was like, yeah, like, yeah, it was a great overall. It's the best weekend of Lando's career, probably without a doubt.
Yes, probably definitely the cleanest, best.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even go cleanest because I feel he was involved in some dirty. I'm saying best weekend over, like dominant win, dominant qualifying. And he led after like turn 1. Like he didn't bottle it in lap 1. He didn't have to He technically
that's what I'm saying by cleanest.
But at the end of lap 1, he actually led. Whereas like I know one of his other 2 probably that would even be in contention would be like Singapore last year and Abu Dhabi, and he wasn't leading after lap 1 or he had a bad qualify or whatever. So this was like his best of his career. Not to mention the fact that he's actually leading the championship now. Which is the first time since like the 5th race of the year. And of course, he's not going to get credit for this because Oscar gave him 3 points back. Whatever, I don't care. The point is, he has completely overcame a mechanical DNF that his rival did not experience.
Yeah.
Where his car blew up under no control of his own, losing. It would have been 18 points net in the championship. Because you have to do the math. Because he wasn't going to win, but he was going to finish second. So, whatever. So, it's like he lost 18, 20-ish points, whatever. And, okay, yeah, sure. You can. At the end of the day, if we come down to it and it's like Oscar loses by less than 6 points, then we can talk more about why is McLaren so stupid for what they did in Monza or Imola or whatever. It's Monza, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
In Monza. And then, but until that point, for me, if Lando ends up winning by larger than that margin, I'm gonna be more like, it's like, this is way more impressive. Not only did he have 18 to 20 some points that he lost just from his car blowing up, but he also has increased the margin to cover. I saw there's people trying to say that like in UK and at Silverstone, Oscar, like they robbed Oscar of points there. And it was like by their wording technically, but obviously Oscar brake checked the crap out of Max.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was horrible. That was really bad from Oscar.
Yeah, the brake check was bad. But remember, McLaren made it seem, because McLaren was like, we don't think you should have got a penalty. And Oscar was like, then let me rehab the lead. And they were like, no.
I don't know about all that, big dog.
Yeah. And of course, once the report came out, it was like, yeah, he did that. But I'd love to reminisce. We can review the season once the season's over. Because it was chaos from turn 1 here. This was the scenes at turn 1.
Bro, I thought Max was about to do some crazy. I thought he was gonna make the turn, and then you saw the dust start coming up, and I was just like, yeah, no, there's no way he's making the corner.
Yeah, this was when telemetry was like, what is going on here? Because it was like 5 people jumping all around. And this was all over the place. Everyone was just cutting grass, cutting corners, dive bombing everything. And somehow the only person to get a penalty from it was Lewis.
Yeah, and it wasn't even from like cutting the grass or anything, which people still think is the reason he got it.
It was leaving the track and gaining advantage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was leading the it was that also mixed with he didn't follow the like off-road gosh. The off-road like procedure. So he didn't follow that, and he cut and gained an advantage, and he didn't give any of the places back, which Max did.
Look, Lewis's penalty was warranted. I just think there's no way he's the only one who should have got a penalty throughout that whole. There's had to be other people.
Okay, George probably should have gotten one because George could have made the corner, and all of a sudden you see him. He literally turns his car to go to the next turn, and then he just goes into the grass to follow Max.
I saw there's been a great super cut together video of him talking about Max. He's like, if things don't go his way, he's just a whiny, sad boy who's borderline
he lashes
violent.
out.
And then it just cuts to George screaming at everyone. Which Mercedes, what are you doing? They were just made George drive behind Kimi for X amount of laps. I can't remember. And then it was okay, now you can go past. Oh, by the way, Piastri got around us. Oh no.
Yeah, that's why he was on the radio complaining, which was so funny. It was probably the best radio of the weekend. I got a McLaren up my ass. It's well, he literally does.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So that was the main controversy with that. So everyone kept going off. Max gave the positions back. He didn't gain. He went in the corner in fourth and he left in fourth, despite the fact that he about rammed it into the wall.
Yeah.
Leclerc got around Lando. Lando immediately switched back and was gone. He drove off into the day, never to be seen again by anybody.
And won the race.
Exactly. Hamilton, what happened with him? He just stayed around third, right? And then eventually he and Max had their second incident where he got the penalty and Bearmans snuck through.
Which was a crazy move by Bearman, by the way. Well, no, Bearman snuck through between Max and George having their tussle.
Well, that was later. I was saying the first one. Max and Lewis were fighting. That's when Bearman got up to around Max the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And Lewis got his penalty. That was the main bulk. Obviously, then when there was the Liam Lawson scenario, that all led to that. So all right. I didn't see Oliver Bearmans stuff. So I just saw he was in third, and I was like, okay, the telemetry thing's broken. This can't be right. So
yeah, he might be the GOAT. So Max and George end up coming together, and there was a little through goes Bearman moment. It was literally almost exactly what happened in Silverstone a few years ago with Checo and Leclerc and Hamilton. Just Max ends up pushing George wide of the corner, and Ollie Bearman just undercuts both of them for a crazy move, and the dude just lights it up down the road. Yeah, he had a great weekend. It's always so good to see one of the drivers in a worse car being up near the podium positions, which I thought he was going to get one, but then Max is Max, so he took third away from him. But still, I think
we'll get to that later for the podium stuff. But yeah.
Right.
I mean, still, he got fourth in a Haas. It was that close to Haas's first ever podium. So
yeah, it's still either tied for or is their best finish ever. So
they've never had a podium. So
yeah, I know they've never had a podium, but I don't know what their best finish I don't know what their best finish is. I think it's fourth. So
it would have to be fourth now for sure. So.
Yeah, it is now, obviously, but
So then the thing after that, I know that happened. That was funny. Was Carlos Sainz, his pit limiter didn't work, and so he sped through the pit lane, and then they gave him a drive-through penalty. So he had to go back through the pit lane, but his pit limiter still wasn't working.
Yeah, and so he technically would have got. I don't know if they gave him another one or if at that point they were just
It's just funny. They were just maybe try again.
Yeah.
They're like, but that's not even real. Try again on that. So that happened. Lando was driving off. Oscar was held up by Yuki for not enough time. Yuki had his chance to make his statement at the second Red Bull seat and hold up Oscar the whole race. And Oscar got around him.
He held him up decently.
That McLaren's was a rocket ship this weekend. As awful as Oscar was in it, I think he had a decent race. Way off the pace of Lando. They messed with his car. They probably didn't. You're probably just stupid. Because, in fairness, this was his best finish of his career at Mexico. So
yeah. The dirty air definitely didn't help Oscar, but even then, you should be able to get around Yuki Tsunoda in a Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. And he did. He got around everyone.
Eventually.
He should have got around, except
Ollie Bearman.
And that was with some help from Mercedes' awful team decision-making down the stretch because they don't want to commit to George being the number one driver because Toto loves him some Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, he does. That's his golden boy.
Yeah, so that all happened. And then there was this was mind-blowing. So Max was in like 8th because he was going for a 1-stop while everyone else was going for a 2-stop, I guess. Like everyone at the back was going for a 2-stop. So I just see Max at 8th and I was like, what happened? And you told me he got undercut. And I was like, why? How'd they let that happen so awfully?
Dude,
Like,
so I don't know if you saw this. They came over the radio and GP was like, he was talking about the tires with Max, and he left his radio on. He goes, what strategy are we on? 1 or 2? Because he's talking to the strategy team, and Max is like,
yeah, I heard it.
The radio's still on. So by that time, Max was already undercut, and if he came into pit like 3 laps later, 4 laps later, or whatever, he would have gotten massively undercut. So they just extended the stint.
Well, what's weird to me is that this is coming off of George, who last weekend was complaining that tires don't degrade and this, that, and the other thing, yet he still decided to go for a 2-stop. I can understand Kimmy or Ollie Bearman going for a 2-stop because they're a lot less experienced. George already knows tires don't degrade, man. It's like, and I think the main thing was that they liked the softs, but the mediums were kind of hard to race with. Which I guess they should just do for everything now. If they want to force 2 pit stop races, they just have to have 1 tire compound that's good. Or like the soft is good, the medium is awful, and then the hard is like more irrelevant than the wets, and then they'll be good and they can get 2-stop strategies out of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, and look, it's easy for us to sit here and be like, bro, just do 30 laps on the soft, not that hard. There's a reason only Max could do it. There's a reason only Max did it. Lando, I don't remember if it was medium softs, but that one race he won, that was kind of like the start of his comeback. He obviously did the 1-stop strat. And he stretched out. It's kind of like, this is, the top drivers really should never pit more than once, is what this year has told me in Formula One, of like, these tires are too good that a good driver can manage them for a whole race and still
as long
make
as
pace.
as long as the track allows it, all the top guys have been just basically abusing the soft or Lance
and that
Stroll.
even was last year because it was Monza, right, where Ferrari won, and it was because they just did 1 less pit stop than everyone else. It was like, obviously, they're just gaining 20 seconds on the track. Do you lose 20 seconds from your tires being so bad? Is kind of what you have to balance it, because that's how long obviously you're gaining from the pit. So that it's like the top drivers, and it saved Max's chance at a championship. If he hadn't have been able to go for a 1-stop, he would have been cooked.
Yeah, and he was rapid on the softs. He had a great stint on the softs, which, I mean, by then, of course, lower fuel, and he was able to kind of just rip off some hot laps, and that's what led to his P3 comeback. So it was pretty sick.
Yep, he almost got P2, but I guess we should talk about this last incident. There are some other brief things we want to talk about. This was the big one. Was quite possibly the stupidest virtual safety car of all time.
Worst. Yep.
He's off the track.
Yeah.
He's in the recovery area.
Obviously, if you guys didn't see it, if you guys don't know, if a car spins out or, has damage, if they pull out behind a safety barrier, there are openings in certain parts of the track. If you drive your car back there, it doesn't cause a safety car or VSC. Carlos Sainz, being a smart driver, he spun out. He broke his alignment, which I don't know if people saw. His car was
and he limped it.
Yeah, and he basically just limped it into the behind.
But he only got it halfway in.
It was way more than halfway in, by the way.
No. But there was still part of it sticking out. So technically, if someone drove on the track backwards and then lost it into the back of his car, they would have hit him.
It would have barely clipped his wing, and that would have been such a horror. Like, literally, it's like this much of his wing is sticking out, bro. It's like...
But yes, I think that's technically the reason why there was a safety car, because technically he wasn't all the way in there still.
But the funniest part about this safety barrier is it's like, where it's in the stadium section, which, by the way, no one's going fast enough to even
you'd literally have to drive the track backwards to hit him with where he was.
And the barrier comes out.
Like you would be getting, like, bro, you would get the Mario Kart guy flying on the freaking cloud turn you around before you hit his car. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's how backwards you'd have to be driving. That guy would be sitting there with the sign like U-turn, and you would know, and you'd be like, oh crap, I got lost when I turned off the map, and now I got to lock back in. Like, I don't think any professional driver is hitting Carlos Sainz with where he's at.
Nah, there's no chance. And then, of course, what sucks, though, Yeah, it screwed it screwed Max over, but if I'm gonna be for real, this might sound cheesy. It screwed the fans, bro, because we were about to get some absolute cinema in that last lap. It was gonna be like, does Oscar catch Ollie, and then also you have does Max catch Leclerc, which he was right on him.
Huge championship stuff. Oscar
Absolutely.
could still be leading if he even caught. It's obviously if if my mom had balls, she'd be my dad.
Exactly.
In the words of the wise Max Verstappen. So maybe they never catch them. I feel like Leclerc probably could have held off Max because Leclerc is a very good driver.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting one would have been more Oscar versus Ollie. Because Oscar, and what if one of them DNF? Like, you never know. One of them could have DNF. Like, it could have hit. Like, Max could have taken out Leclerc, Ollie Bearman P2, Oscar P3. Like,
yeah, you legitimately don't know. So,
but
yes,
and it
was
horrible safety car.
And the fact that they threw that and they didn't throw the one for Liam Lawson just kind of baffles me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so much like what is happening moments this weekend. Of course, the one race that I haven't watched this year. So that's awesome. I guess I should just stop on. And in fairness, this track normally sucks for racing. Like, it's not been a historically incredible racing track. It's like
I feel like every year it's pretty much just like going into turn one, something stupid at
turn one
happens.
is the only thing that happens. It's like Coda without all the good stuff in the middle of the race.
Right. Yeah. Once
you get turn one and that's it.
Yeah. Between lap 10 and lap 65, the Mexico Grand Prix is usually pretty horrible. But that's not what we had this year. I mean, the racing in the middle was awesome.
It was the best race of the year.
Yeah, it's probably the best race of the year. So,
and on top of that, new championship leader by one single point. Lando Norris. Hey, this is why you should listen to the Simply Lovely podcast, because Corbin, yes, more than anyone, has been blowing the giant Viking war horn of Max is going to win the championship. But if you go back and listen to the little race review, I was back there dinging the little bell. Lando, I said it, Lando I still think, should be the real favorite to win this title.
He is now on DraftKings.
I think I was saying that. That's what I was saying. So you could have earned some money if Lando goes on to win because he had second best odds. Just saying. Because hey, I was out there calling. I was saying Lando's been steadily gaining, and he will pass first. And Max has to be perfect. And we said Max very well could be perfect, but he has to be perfect. And he was not perfect this week.
Now, in fairness, a lot of it was probably his car. Yeah.
Well, now he does. But the problem is now he could be perfect and still lose a championship.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest problem with this weekend. He still can afford McLaren's finishing 2-3, but he needs Oscar to lock back in. He needs them to fight each other violently.
Yeah, I feel.
But now he does objectively have to be completely perfect. Like, he cannot have another weekend like this.
Yeah,
and I know this was the car. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and blame Max for bro.
No, the car this was awful.
And so there's that, and he still maximized his result to his best extent. He was fighting Leclerc for that P2 spot, which would have been real big, but he didn't get it. So he's in a tough spot now. But okay, McLaren have 750 some points in the constructor standings. All right. Let's just to really emphasize how stupid this is. What I'm about to point out is, let's look at okay, I'm not going to Vegas. I'm not a millionaire. What are we talking about here? Look at the gap from P1 to P2. All right.
Yeah.
Why in the world is McLaren coming on the radio saying, Hey Lando, if there's a safety car, what do you want us to do for Oscar? Why is that happening?
I don't know.
This is how Lando gets dubbed the most evil human since Joseph Stalin, bro. Greatest threat to world peace. Because it's like, bro, first off, what would have been hilarious, and Lando probably should say, is either A, F off, or B, chuck the wets on.
Yeah. That's what Max would have said.
Like, exactly. Well, Max doesn't have to say that because his teammates don't know how to compete with him.
Right. But I'm just saying, if the rules were similar.
Exactly. There's no world McLaren should be at, it's like, you got constructors locked up. Let them race. Like, at this point. Like, it's like, stop trying to micromanage everything. And this means if we do have another scenario, like Monza, like whatever, it's like, now it's like they're going to sit here and micromanage the rest of this. It's like, you've won constructors, and now Max is like, he was like storming up in the rearview mirror. Now he's back a bit more.
Yeah.
Let him race.
Yeah, I don't know. again, like we keep saying, it's just gonna be coming down to the wire. I feel like now the championship, like we were talking about this last time, it is now in Lando's control. I feel like it's no longer in Max's control now that Lando has the lead.
You were way too I agreed with you that I thought Max had a good chance, but it was never in like he technically was in a position where he could have won everything and won the championship. But there were still I was looking at the schedule. It was like Max very well can win Mexico, Sao Paulo, Vegas. His problem was always going to be Qatar and Abu Dhabi. The issue was they ended up not winning Mexico.
Yeah. I don't know.
So now he's got to try to steal one of those two. But it was always going to be a problem at those last two tracks. Those are definitely McLaren tracks. I mean, in 2024, 3, it was 2023. 2023, the year Max won everything. Oscar won the sprint in Qatar.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's a sprint, obviously, but that's still beating the RB19 in a race of some form.
Mm-hmm. I just, there's going to be some shenanigans with McLaren because now it's like...
I don't know if there is. I just don't know if Oscar's...
I'm just talking about between the two drivers. There's only 1 point separating them, and they're both going to push like hell to win a championship. If they have to fight at some point on track, there's gonna be some tomfoolery. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't know if they are. Like, well, the only way is if Lando immediately goes back to like, oh no, all the pressure's on me, which I don't think he will. I think he's already dealt with that last year. He's got a chance to go to the track where he lost his chance at a championship last year to basically lock himself in over Max for sure. But if Oscar has another weekend, he would be firmly in control instead of just slightly in control,
Right.
That's Sao Paulo. Last year, obviously, Max had the horrible qualifying. Lando was on pole, and then it was just all downhill from there for him. And it basically lost his chance at championship. Now, in fact, I wouldn't put any of that on Lando. In fact, that would be on Max. I would give that to Max being just an incredible driver and then getting lucky with a red flag that he maximized his advantage for with how good he was driving that day. And so he's got a chance now to really put it. This was like his championship drive. If he can just end the year now, this was the one. Like how last year, obviously Max didn't win it in Sao Paulo, ended up winning it in Vegas. But everyone looks back last year. Sao Paulo was where Max won the championship.
Right.
For Lando, it would be this weekend if he can just hold it out.
I
think it'll be Mexico. He got the pole, he got the win. And he got booed during his interview and on the podium, and it's time to embrace it. Look, Lando doesn't have a villain personality. It's time to start finding one.
Right.
All right, because if they aren't gonna respect you, talk trash and go at them. Build a personality. Alonso was the villain for the longest time, right? He was the villain.
He was the heel.
Max was a villain. Max is a villain for exactly. You're the pro wrestling guy. Lando, it's time to develop. He needs to talk with people and develop a heel personality.
09 Randy Orton. That's what he's got to be.
The problem is he has a baby face. So he naturally, and he has a very baby face personality. And he's just a rich kid. But in fairness, that's every F1 driver. He's just British, so it gets amplified 30 times more.
Yeah, real. So
I swear they never play the Oscar radio broadcast. Yet I'd be hearing Lando radio broadcast every 20 minutes.
Well,
it's because he's British, bro. He gets the extra. The extra coverage, and unfortunately, he's still super young, and he's like too nice at times, so it gives problems. And McLaren, maybe they want him to win. I don't. It's so impossible to say that. He's had 6 to 7 slow pit stops, and he, like in a row, the mechanical failure. They got Oscar out in front of Kimi in that final pit stop, which they very easily could have just held him up for another half second if they really wanted Oscar to not win the championship.
Right. So
they're doing a horrible job of sabotaging him if that's their goal.
Yeah.
So
you're right, but of course, when's the next race weekend? While we wrap this up, kind of quick, because I got class in 10 minutes.
It's at Sao Paulo. I don't know if it. Let me look. It is. So we have this weekend off, nothing, and then we are back the weekend after for Sao Paulo.
Sick. So, Thursday, we will see you guys Thursday. Before we head off, Caleb, you want to throw anything out?
Nope.
Sick. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching a Simply Lovely podcast. If you guys want to, please chuck the links down below. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we both hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you later.